All right, so I'm back. It's Sunday. Run a few things down. I've been in a real funk. I've been letting all this external stress, anxiety, depression mess really affect me. So I'm working really hard on pushing, pushing my, I guess, for lack of better state, my will upon the world and circumstances around me. It's helping. It's coming right along. I can get real deep and existential and have a real big conversation on that. But um, the only things that matter on that is depression's a real thing. Um, a lot of the anxiety, depression I experience is external pressures affecting me in a negative manner. And I got a lot of my own issues to work out. I am an issue laden problem. Uh, so this week I coasted along. I actually had a pretty good week productive wise. I got a gas tank, did a partial repair and partial paint on a Harley tank. I'm satisfied with the work I did. I'm not satisfied with the tank because of I wasn't allowed to fix the whole thing. The deal is that it was chipped and scratched and dented. The sides of the tank were the worst, but the top had scratches and shit that somebody half-assed touched up. And I did little ovals on the side, painted up little ovals on the side. And it's a bright orange Harley tank that the color's no longer available from Harley. Harley doesn't give paint codes, period. And with what's on it, I shopped around my primary paint vendors. I shopped around and they're like, yeah, we're not going to match that. You need to paint the whole bike. So the verdict came down. I just did the teardrops on the sides of the tank, and PWG, which is a Chrysler color. It's like creamy, cool vanilla, I think is what it's called. They put on the 300s back when, and it's a neat color for accenting with this orange. And I dug around in my overpour cabinet and I found some pearl, so I shot pearl over it, so it looks good with the rest of the part, with the rest of the tank. I got all of the driver's side on the Healy fitted up, done, door gaps, everything looks good. It needs, well, I'm getting some pressure on timeliness. When you get pressure on timeliness, metal work isn't what it could be. It's still good metal work by standards. It's just not as good as I would like to put out. It'll need just a light skim, block down, primered and blocked. It'll be a really simple process for the guy that's slinging mud. But they're just gonna have to skim the whole panels and be done with it. I don't have anything that's gonna cake up mud like this. I have some areas that'll be deeper fill than I like, but it is exactly what it is, and it's not going to be a mud buggy like 90% of the Heelys out there. It's going to be real steel and pretty damn decent. I could have done better, but I would need 3 times the budget. You come into a problem with I come into the problem, I'm finding people don't know what good metal work looks like, so when you do decent metal work, reasonable metal work, they're wow. And I'm looking at it going, it's not really that great, guys. I can do better. And they're like, no, it's great. It's perfect. It's better than anything I ever expected. So their expectations are way low, and this project I'm not going to sell them on superior metal work. It's not going to happen. So I have to bow out gracefully at good enough, and it bothers me a little bit. But I got the whole driver's side fitted up. I got the whole passenger side fitted up. Only thing I got to deal with now is the aluminum cowls. I got to make the hood fit the aluminum cowl in the front. The deck lid fits really well in the back, so I'm going to leave it pretty much alone. And then there's some cracked aluminum, so I'll anneal the areas. I'd love to anneal the whole parts because they're definitely beat up. Again, we're back into a time frame issue and a money issue. I can't do the work for free, so I've got to do as much as I can. But I got half the car up in epoxy inside and outside the panels. I cleaned them up with Fix, and then Fix is an acid. It's a phosphoric acid component. You can't wipe it down and shoot epoxy over it. It'll attack the epoxy will peel off. Just like doing lead work, you have to neutralize the acid in order to cover it. Otherwise you have adhesion issues. I've found, and somebody on one of these Facebook groups had mentioned it, and I stopped and processed what they were saying. I come in with a red Scotch-Brite and Windex window cleaner. Window cleaner is primary component ammonia, which is a base. So you end up with salt water laying on your panel when you're done, once it's all neutralized, and you get some trailings of, it's almost like rust, but it's not. It's all inert at that point. It's not active once you clean the panel off. And then I sand them down, wipe them with acetone, and shoot epoxy on them. That's the standard operating procedure for me now. But anytime you're working with an acidic base, an acidic product, you have to use a base to neutralize it. Unless you're working with something as benign as vinegar, then clean fresh water rinse will work. These are my findings thus far, how I do things. I'm not saying this is how it's got to be done. But if you're working, you got to have a little bit of chemistry background, or at least the capacity to understand and research a little bit of chemistry when playing with these chemicals. I got a little tank done. I got over half of this. Well, I got half the steel up in epoxy now. There are 3 panels that have etch primer on them already. They want to put etch primer on. So I'm just going to shoot those with, I'll scuff them and shoot those with high build. Because you can't put, again, we're back to that, you can't put an epoxy over an etch. But you can put a 2K high build over an etch. That's back when, 70s, when they started using catalyzed products with hardeners in them. That's what the 2K primer was really for, sealing out the etch primer. The etch primer is your rust, your corrosion protection. The 2K is your surface to build on, finish out any imperfections, and paint over. I epoxy everything before I paint. That's my last stage. I'll epoxy it. Your drivers, I'll jam everything out, assemble it, wet sand it all down because it's in epoxy, and then go into paint. And then, let me see, at 62 Nova Hood I got painted up. It will probably come with me when I move because I'm not 100% satisfied with the final finish. I had everything with wings laying in it. When I get out there, I am going to build another booth better than what I had prior. What I had prior was a stop loss. It wasn't supposed to be standing that long. I was only supposed to have it a few months and then replace it with something real. Something, if not engineered and built, something I modeled after what was engineered and already built. That's been my week in progress. I'm going to spend most of my day-to-day out in the yard and grounds, getting it cleaned up, sorting through stuff, taking some pictures of crap I'm getting rid of. And then back to the grind tomorrow, right? I've run out of room in my little shop. But see, I'm not taking on new projects. If I have a new customer I've not dealt with, I will typically turn them away unless it's something very small and simple. I'll take on small and simple projects for, if I'm sought out, if people seek me out and say, hey, I need you to do dot, dot, dot. If it's a one-day project, simple, small, easy, I'll tackle it and get it done for them. That gives me the little bit of cash influx I need. Otherwise, I'm concentrating on what's backlog. I've got plenty of that. Getting used to working by myself is really interesting, but I don't have anyone to lay fault on. And I've reached a really interesting part in my, career here. I've reached a very interesting part in my career here because, like the Nova hood, it would have been okay. The owner would have been satisfied. We would have moved on with life. But I pointed out 5 flaws in the finish that I did not find acceptable. I said, with what I have here, what I'm doing right now, this is as good as I can give you. Let me get moved, get that booth built, bring it back to me. We'll do a proper respray of clear, and it will be beautiful. That's how that works, I guess. That's how that works. I'm not allowing good enough anymore. The Healy's driving me nuts because there's aspects about it I have to leave good enough. Working forward, I'm doing my best never to settle for good enough, because my skills are at a point I can do excellent work consistently, and I can sell that. That's my aim. So I guess that's the update. Everybody knows it's been following that I'm moving to rural Iowa. It's about 40 minutes from here. And I'm looking forward to the fresh air and be able to see the Milky Way from my deck at home, and just getting away from masses of people. This city's become very unfriendly for me. And it's a small city, but it's become very unfriendly for me, and I'm tired of it. I'm just tired. And I got a bunch of other little things up my sleeve that I'll share when it comes time. I'm going to get into some PB and E aspects, paint, body, and equipment aspects, parts. So I will be starting to set up some internet presence for those aspects, or at very least following up with what I've already started for those aspects, and aim to carve out a route through Marion and Jasper counties. I live almost equidistant from the 2 major raceways here around us, Eddyville and the Newton Speedway. Not Eddyville, Knoxville and the Newton Speedway. I'm not even positive where Eddyville's at. I've never made it down there. I will next year. I want to watch some straight line drags. It's just an 1/8 mile, but it should be fun. But the 2 big commercial raceways in Iowa are the Newton Speedway and Knoxville. So I'm dead heat between them. That's hot rod land in that general area. I think I'm going to do all right. I'm out. You guys have a good day. Don't let the outside world bog you down, clutter your mind, and make you doubt yourself. I do enough of that for all of us.